I'm Sean Hoffman, president of ARA Insurance. Been at ARA Insurance now about 6 years. Been in the insurance industry for the last 20. With us today also is Emmett Long. Emmett is one of our preferred agents based in Georgia. I'll let Emmett introduce himself.
Yeah, Emmett Long. I'm in Northwest Georgia, serve Georgia, Tennessee, a little bit of Alabama. Have been in the industry about 17 years now. And our agency does a lot of things other than rental, but that's where I spend most of my time. And our agency has had a focus on rental since the 70s.
Yeah. Jeff, are you back? Is that you, the ARA logo?
All right, well, I apologize. Let's go ahead, just in case I lose signal again. ARA President Sean Hoffman, along with Emmett Long, who's an ARA preferred agent out of JSI. We're excited to have a conversation today about how ARA insurance can grow and protect your business. So we're looking for this to be an interactive call today. So if you have questions, we'll be monitoring the chat. We'll be raise your hands in the chats. We can certainly take those calls or take those questions. But with that, we'll have Sean and Emmett do a quick introduction.
We did it. We kind of did it while you were away for a minute. We jumped it. So
jumped the gun. All right.
Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get kicked off. So, can you guys tell us a little bit about what's unique about ARA insurance?
Insurance stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, thanks, Jeff. I will, now that you're back, I will thank you, number one, for inviting us to come talk ARA. Been waiting for this invitation for a while, so this is an honor for me to be on the Lunch and Learn with you and have Emmett. But ARA Insurance, you know, I'll talk a little about the big picture, and I'll let Emmett talk too here in a second. But you know, what your question was, what's unique about ARA Insurance? We are member owned and we're member directed. So right there, it just tells you a lot about us. We were created by the ARA to support the rental industry. So we've been around since about 1977 and have grown considerably since then. Rental is all we do. So we don't do any other types of insurance. So our focus at ARA Insurance is the members of ARA. And what does it mean when I say directed is we have a board of directors, a couple of them are on this call, that they work with us to kind of give us guidance and an understanding of what's going on in the industry. And so we really, our goal is to work with them to understand and make sure we're doing the best that we can for the industry that we serve. The last thing I want to touch, and I'll let Emmett go, is the final thing that makes us very unique is our distribution model. We're very limited on the partners that we have. Emmett is an example of an agent that specifically works with ARA Insurance. So Emmett covers Georgia and Tennessee, and rental is a primary focus of what he does. And what we found is we've got a very unique policy and coverages, and having somebody that really understands those things, that can speak the language with you, but also being a trusted advisor, that is something that's very important to us. So that's the high level ARA Insurance difference. Emmett, anything you want to add?
No, I think you covered it all, Sean. So
perfect.
Yeah. Good job.
What type of, I know there's a lot of coverages out there. What specifically does ARA Insurance cover, and what don't you cover?
I'm gonna say what we don't cover, because this is one of the biggest maybe misconceptions, and then I'll let Emmett talk more about what we do cover. We get a lot of phone calls and a lot of inquiries about, do we cover renters that are coming into the stores or the customers? We do not do that. We do not have a product for the individual customers. We've talked about different options, but as it stands today, we aren't covering the end renter. We are covering your business. And I'll let Emmett talk a little about what that specifically means.
Yeah, so ARA does have a pretty comprehensive offering for rental companies. I would consider it to be the gold standard in the industry. So the basic building blocks of that are general liability. General liability is going to protect you if somebody gets hurt using your equipment or as part of your operations, or if their property is damaged. So that can be everything from somebody's hurt on a piece of equipment to You're delivering tables and drop one into a plate glass window. Had that claim this week. Somebody slips and falls in your store. Could be lots of those kinds of things. So general liability, inland marine is all of your rental inventory. We cover that, whether it's at your store, in your warehouse, out with a customer, or really anywhere in the country, whether it's on the back of a truck, if it's at a job site, wherever it is, anywhere in the United States, that equipment is covered. That is something that you don't always get with every other company. We can also do property, so we can do buildings, we can do your contents, your furniture, your fixtures, your shelving, all the things that service your business income coverage to help you be made whole in the event of a catastrophic loss financially. We can do autos, delivery vehicles, service vehicles, all those kinds of things. And then outside of that, a lot of times people don't think about, but it's important, employment practices liability. If you have a discrimination claim in your business, cyber liability, if you have ransomware or hacking, those kinds of claims, and then excess liability that goes over and above your auto and your general liability, so that if you have a very large claim, you've got an additional $1, $2, $3, $5 million of coverage. So those are kind of the basic building blocks that ARA offers. I would say, as far as coverage, it's very broad. If you pull up to a job site, any construction site, I would say probably anything that you can find on that construction site, ARA can cover, with the exception of a crane. And anything that you would see in the party industry, we can pretty much cover, with the exception of things like trackless trains, climbing walls, some of the way out there inflatables. But we do try to meet our members' needs, and so if it's out in the industry, we want to find a way to make it work.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that as my time here I've learned is there's a lot of things that aren't what I would call typical rental items, and we try to find a way to cover as many as we can. At one point, as Emmett was going through the coverages, we can do all of it, or we could just do a couple of those lines of coverages. We don't want to do any standalone policies per se, but if there's just a couple of those, we're welcome to do just equipment and maybe the auto, or equipment and GL, or some type of combinations. So there is some flexibility that we can do and offer different lines of coverage.
Nice. One of the questions that we get asked quite a bit on the membership team is, what do you look for if a potential insurance customer is interested in talking to insurance? What are some of the things that you guys are looking for as you're having those conversations?
Yeah, I'm trying to think on a daily basis how many phone calls we get for people looking for coverage, and it's a lot of cases of somebody who just has, one or two pieces of equipment that they're just trying to rent out because they're not currently using it, and so those are the things we don't look for. So once again, going that route, what we do look for is somebody who is committed to rental, committed to starting a business. We would, if you're just starting out in the industry and only have a few pieces of equipment, we want to just know, do you have a plan, a business plan? What are the next steps? What do you hope to be in 3 years? Is this something that, very common, we get a lot of questions of, this is a side hustle, which a side hustle is fine. We just want the side hustle to become the priority at some point in time. So business plans, having the best practices, and, those are the types of things we look for. So there's not necessarily like a threshold of revenue right at the beginning, but knowing that this isn't just going to be you renting something out of the garage on an occasional basis. That's not the kind of thing we're looking for. We want to have somebody that's committed to doing a rental business. And, anything else that when you're out kind of visiting that you see in the stores too?
Yeah, I mean, and I think kind of the background behind that is this insurance program is a member benefit for ARA insurance members. And one of the things that ARA, one of the purposes for ARA is to raise the standard in the industry, raise the professionalization in the industry. And so we want to make sure that the risk pool that is covering all of our members is we're putting people into that risk pool that are going to be good for those members as well, if that makes sense. So we don't want to put somebody in that is not focusing on safety, that doesn't really have any idea about how to maintain their equipment properly, that isn't really in it for the long run, because those are the kinds of businesses that will lead to a higher claims frequency that will impact everybody in the pool. So yeah, I write and have worked with a lot of startups, and I really enjoy working with startups. But if somebody is starting in the business, there are kind of some minimum things that they need to have as far as organization and a plan to be successful.
So Emmett, I think that's a great point. When we were talking recently, you were talking about how many just startups that you've written insured recently. So just to kind of give an idea that that's something that you see quite a bit of, and are able to accommodate those with those
Sure.
things. Is it rental contract? It's good to see business plans, maintenance plans, anything else that you kind of have that checklist?
Somebody that's kind of thought through where they want to be in the next 1, 3, 5 years, and has some semblance of a plan to get there. Somebody that has some background that would maybe not necessarily in exactly what they're going to be doing, but that would lend itself to success. And that, that they're taking that they have the time and the financial wherewithal to kind of make those plans come to fruition. But yeah, and I personally love working with startups. Probably have written close to 35 in the last couple of years. And I enjoy being an educator too and an advisor for a lot of those people. But the ones that have, hey, I've just got 1 or 2 pieces of equipment and this is never going to be more than a side hustle and haven't really thought through it, that's probably not going to be a good fit.
All right, looks like I kind of want to hit on the benefits. There was a question that came in. Scott, I don't know if you have that question. The question is, do you provide materials or have training around safety and other issues that we can use?
Yes. So that's one of the great things that ARA provides and that ARA insurance helps provide and fund is lots of safety meetings that are ready to go, instructions for you and your employees, lots of things within Rental U courses, everything from driver training to safety around grinders to safe tenting installation. There's lots of resources out there that we can provide and that we really do encourage. I think that's one of my roles as an agent is to be a good educator and advisor to my customers on how to make themselves run a better business that has a lower risk profile that's going to lead to lower claims for them and ultimately be more profitable.
Yeah.
And,
I'll just tie in there.
Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
No, I was going to say, some of the things and why this relationship I think is really beneficial for members is, there are certain things, Emmett talked about the importance of the contract. As a member, you have those 2 free hours of legal assistance with James Waite to kind of talk through kind of your issues, your concerns. They will write your contract at a reduced rate that they normally would, but they'll help you along the way with certain things with the business. Even in our Rental U, we have, again, Emmett referenced the monthly safety trainings. We have the Prioritized Safety Series that some members use that for their monthly meeting. This is the topic we have this month. Here's what we're going to do. So there's a tremendous amount of information within the Rental U platform. On top of that, there's other benefits. We're partnered with the National Equipment Registry, and this is one where if you have mobile off-road equipment registered with them, and you have ARA insurance, if that piece of equipment gets stolen, there's up to a $10,000 damage waiver that you can take advantage of. So not a lot of members know about that one. So just wanted to make sure you guys see all of the benefits that are kind of crossover between ARA insurance and ARA in general.
Yeah, and that's a great benefit because the whole idea behind that is if your piece of equipment is stolen and it's recovered 2 states over, law enforcement can look it up and see that it belongs to you and be able to get it back to you. And we believe in that enough that that ARA insurance has waived the deductible if something is on that list that gets stolen.
And the final point, and if there's ever anything that Max, thanks for the question, because if there's ever anything that you think that we could do better or any other training that you'd like to see, we'd love to hear it. And we always want to, anything that would be specific to what you're doing, or if there's anything we can help support, that's what we're here for.
I'm gonna pause. Anybody have any questions for Sean or Emmett? Or myself?
Where can we find a list of all these ARA member benefits?
Absolutely. So we can certainly provide you that there. We've got kind of the one-page document I can send you. There's a lot of information at ararental.org. And then we also do have an insurance website as well. Depending on specifically what you're looking for, I can put my email in the thread here. And by all means, reach out. We can get you connected. One thing that the member services team does a lot of is, they'll send you a calendar link for you to put in when's a good time for you to talk and have a consultative conversation. If you're on the event side, we'll have it with the event segment experts. Equipment side would be with the equipment experts. So we really try to tailor that and really understand kind of what you're looking for and then help plug you into some of those resources.
Sounds good.
Sean, there's one question that says, who is the insurance agent for Minnesota?
Jay, our agent up there is a gentleman named Jim Lavelle, and Doug is actually on this call right here from Minneapolis as well. So be glad to refer Jim over to you and have him reach out to you.
I know y'all said you don't offer by the day insurance for the consumers. Do you have a recommendation for that?
We really don't. No. Emmett, I get that question, and I don't feel comfortable recommending anybody having that by the day insurance policy.
Yeah, I think there's one or two companies out there. I'm not probably comfortable enough recommending as a product.
That's how I am as well.
Is it possible, somebody's asking about the Texas agent? I don't know. It might be something where we could send it out after the call as well. Just kind of recapping who points of contacts may be. Might be a beneficial thing.
Yeah, if we could capture those, I'd be glad to get those people in touch with the agents in their locations.
Great. Another question that we get often on the phone is, does ARA insurance require you to have a brick and mortar store?
Emmett, I'll let you take this one.
Not necessarily. That is ideal for you to have a brick and mortar store, but not every business is going to. And, it depends on how your business is set up. I have a couple that, one, operates basically everything is done by delivery. And so they do operate out of a couple of storage units. I have another one that everything, again, is by delivery, and he operates out of essentially a pole barn off of his farm. So not necessarily, but typically it is something that is preferred.
Here's one, Emmett, this may be kind of geared towards you, but I've got a good friend of mine who's an insurance agent. He says he can sell me the similar policies what you guys do. Why shouldn't I go with them and go with ARA insurance?
Yeah, it's a good question, because I think a lot of people in the insurance business, it tends to be a relationship business. And I would say a lot of times your friend may not know what he doesn't know about your business and about your industry. And so, again, I feel like a lot of my role is to be an educator, to be a consultant, with my customers on, kind of on the level with their attorney or their CPA. And I work with 135 or so rental businesses. It's what I do in and out day to day. When you call me about a piece of equipment or you call me about an issue, I've probably seen it 3 or 4 times before, or many more times than that before, whereas your agent may not. And so when you think about protecting your business, I always tell people your contract is your first line of defense. You need to have that as strong as possible. And James Wade is a fantastic resource. I refer a lot of people to him, and I also review from a non-lawyer standpoint a lot of contracts. And that's really important to have that first line of defense. Your insurance policy is kind of the last line of defense. When the crap really hits the fan, you need to have good coverage. And you need to have somebody that really understands that insurance policy, which is a couple 100 pages long, and the ins and outs of it. And when, I don't do every industry. So when I have somebody that comes to me and says, hey, I need marine shipping insurance to ship something across the ocean, I tell them that's not my wheelhouse. I don't really understand that industry. And so I'm going to try to find somebody to refer you to that actually does really understand that industry. So kind of between that contract and having that policy that addresses everything, the middle part of that, where I think an agent really adds value, is all of the risk management things that we're talking about, the helping you have good policy procedures for your clients, for your business, for your employees, safety training for employees, all of those things that help you not have claims, not have losses that impact your bottom line. And again, that's where you need somebody that actually knows your industry and is not just looking at it one time a year for one customer that they have.
Makes sense.
And perfect answer. I think one thing I would ask you, Emmett, is this: how many rentals stores do you think you've been in over the past 15 years? Would you guess?
300 maybe?
Yeah, in unique stores. So just
Yeah.
having that base of knowledge and seeing best practices is that was the biggest takeaway when I went to a store the first time when I started at ARA Insurance with an agent, and just that institutional knowledge they have of best practices and just advice they can give. It's a lot different than just an agent who's just covering you because they know you.
And Jeff, there are a couple of questions. If you want to start with one of those, Max and Jay both have questions.
Sure.
The first one is Max. What about workman's comp or any other employee-related insurance? Do you all provide that as well?
So ARA Insurance on the work comp we don't actually have a work comp program in-house. We have a partner agency that we can place work comp in. Our independent agents like Emmett typically have a work comp solution that they can do it. ARA Insurance doesn't offer the work comp. And I guess when you say employee related insurance, I don't know any specific.
I'm assuming maybe that's employment practices liability. So we do offer employment practices liability. And unless it's health insurance.
That's why I was just telling if it was health
could be
insurance.
health insurance, but yeah, we do offer employment practices liability through ARA Insurance. You don't have to take that, but it is available. And then, yeah, with the workers' comp, most of your ARA agents have some solution, and ARA also has a solution as well. So
the one thing I'll tap in there too is if it is health insurance, ARA members do have the ability to pick up health insurance through one of our partners. There are restrictions, it's kind of a state by state thing, but we do have that information as well. I'd be more than happy to share that with you if you just want to reach out to me after the call.
Okay. The next question is from Jay, and it's, could you please explain in detail when equipment is out on rent, what is covered?
I can take that. So Jay, your equipment is covered typically for replacement cost, meaning what the cost of it would be today if you had to go buy it new. when it's out on rent, just like it would be at your store. So it's covered if somebody steals it, if they burn it up, if they put a big dent in it, if they roll it over. I mean, anything that would happen to it that damages that piece of equipment, we're picking up coverage for.
And we've seen all of those this week. So yeah, this is
Yeah.
the one
Yeah.
thing, normal wear and tear is excluded. That's probably the biggest thing that's just excluded. But to your point too, when it's out on rent, this is one of the biggest differences between us and others is, as soon as that property leaves your store, it's covered. Where it's not, since you're willfully parting with that equipment, you're renting it to somebody, therefore it's not covered with other companies. That's a big difference between ARA insurance and the standard insurance policy.
Yeah.
Emmett, do you see his follow-up question too? About the end user?
So I guess, Jay, to your follow-up, yes, that should be on the end user. And let's say that the end user damages the piece of equipment. In the best case scenario, they would have their own insurance and they would have given you a certificate of insurance naming you as lost payee, and their insurance would pay for that. But a lot of times we see that's not the case, that your renter doesn't have insurance that would apply. If they're a homeowner, they're pretty much never going to have coverage that would apply. A lot of your small contractors don't as well. And so if that is the case and your customer can't pay for that damage that they do, you can turn it into as an insurance claim. ARA insurance will pay you for that claim. And then as they can, they will pursue the customer to reimburse you for those damages. But that's kind of the way that a lot of those claims work. And I mean, we've had claims where people sink stuff in a pond. We've had them turnovers, push equipment up into a brush fire, all kinds of stuff. Pretty normal week at the office, I guess. We're seeing those kinds of claims.
Okay. The next question we've got is from Mark. Says we currently have ARA insurance provided via a local agency. Is there a difference if it's provided via one of your designated agents?
The coverage is the same. And Mark, maybe you and I can connect after this call and talk through that. But the coverage, the policy, and everything is the same.
Okay.
But Jeff, if you guys could get me Mark's contact information, we can just have a conversation too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. The next question is from Ryan. Are alternative rates available for equipment with GPS tracking devices compared to equipment without tracking devices?
No.
Okay.
However, I think it's something we strongly recommend. And if you have GPS on something and it's stolen, we will waive your deductible. But I think also in the long run, it's going to prevent claims from being filed. And so that by itself will keep your rates down because you're not making claims. I mean, I normally tell people, if you can tow a piece of equipment with an F-250, you should have a GPS on it. If it's a skid steer mini, especially any mini skids and skid steers, it's a mini X, trencher, even a lot of your trailers, you can get GPS on. And I really encourage people to do that because those are the ones that we see stolen the most often.
I think
it's not even close. And Jeff, I'll let you talk about ERG in a second. I think if you're going, but the theft of those, what Emmett just said, the mini skid steers, those models, those are the highest theft items. One point Emmett mentioned of the deductible waiver, it's up to $10,000 if it has the GPS. That is a GPS monitored. It's got to have active monitoring. Apple AirTags, there's a question a lot we get about Apple AirTags. Those are not considered GPS because they rely on other Apple phones. So it actually has to be monitored GPS.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk really quick about, the GPS kind of ties in with our new initiative, Equipment Rental Guard, which you can go to the website, equipmentrentalguard.org. You can sign up for text alerts that will let you know if a store down the road had somebody who came in that displayed red flags, you can get that text out, goes out within 3 to 4 minutes, they'll have it. You'll be able to identify, oh, we've got a red F-150 female from California, whatever that may be, just to kind of get your antenna up for that one. We also have new training videos that are out, training courses in Rental U. The Red Flag Renters is out now. Next week, we'll be launching the site security, and then we'll have a few more each month. We'll be launching that out there. And you know, we've got a lot of big things coming with this Equipment Rental Guard program. But the whole idea behind it and where it's great to have a partnership with ARA Insurance is, you know, we can spread that news to not only members, but also how it can affect your insurance and, you know, keeping your equipment one in the shop before getting rented out. Conversion theft is the highest we have. You know, when somebody comes in, rents it, and just doesn't return it. So very aware of that. And this program, I would really encourage you to check it out. Again, equipmentrentalguard.org. A lot of good information in there. Are there any other questions at this point? Emmett or Sean, anything you guys would like to add? I'm used up all of my questions that I had. So I don't know if you guys have anything in closing you want to present.
No, once again, appreciate the opportunity to come on here, and I really appreciate all the questions that were asked. Those are good questions. Some of those we don't hear, and would love to. If there's anybody that's not insured with us, would love to talk to you. Be glad to talk to you myself and get you out to an agent, and hopefully we can help you out.
Yeah. Well, I guess one of the last things I want to say is I know owners who operate rental stores, a lot of times you're wearing, you know, depending on the day, 4 to 10 different hats in your business. And one of the things that preferred agents like I can offer you is to take one of those hats off and let us be kind of that outsourced risk advisor for you and help you manage that risk without having to spend all your time on it. And so to the extent that we can help educate, advise, provide resources, that's what we're here for. That's why agents exist in this system. So don't be shy about taking advantage of that.
Mm-hmm.
Great. And the last thing I would say, I know, Sean, you have your contact in there. Emmett, I don't know if you've put yours in yet. Mine's also in there. And I didn't get a chance to introduce who I was for those of you I don't know, but I'm Jeff Rogan. I'm the Vice President of Member Experience. So anything member related, benefit related, really falls under my team. So again, reach out with any questions you have about the membership and the benefits. Be more than happy to connect you to the right person.
Yeah, and I just dropped my contact info in as well.
Perfect. And we will be sending this out. It's been recorded. We're going to send it out to everybody who registered for the call. Again, just want to thank Sean and Emmett for joining us today. If you guys have follow-up questions, you've got all of our contact information there. And hopefully you guys have a great rest of your week. Thanks a lot.